under a strict security cordon, where the media access restricted, the local residents being questioned during the operation. Meanwhile, Gaza Health Ministry said at least 73,054 Palestinians have been killed and 1,73,480 injured in Gaza since Israel's genocidal war began in October 2023. Among the dead are 1,041 people killed since the October 2025 U.S. brokered ceasefire, while 3,372 others have been wounded. The Israeli army said its forces killed 3 Palestinian officers in Gaza, stripped the latest violation. The Interior Ministry said the killing of 3 policemen reflect Israel's instance and the spreading chaos in Gaza. Children in Gaza continue to bear the brunt of the ongoing conflict, with repeated Israeli military operations contributing to mounting casualties, displacement, and severe humanitarian challenges. Aid agencies have warned that the continued hostilities are disrupting access to food, healthcare, education, and safe shelter, leaving many children exposed to worsening the living conditions. Humanitarian organizations have renewed calls for the greater protection of civilians, unhindered and access and sustained efforts to reduce impact of the conflict on children. Afghanistan has become the deadly country for returning Afghan migrants under the Taliban. According to the Afghan publication Health Hashtag, the growing fear under the Taliban regime has forced the millions of Afghan citizens to flee their homes. The report said the Taliban have imprisoned 350 innocent Afghans for the shaming birds and listening to music. Amnesty International Afghanistan researcher Zaman Sultan said that Afghanistan under Taliban rule is the world's most dangerous country for the return of migrants. Hashtag also reported that the Afghan Taliban are forcibly taking control of Afghanistan's embassies in Europe in an effort to gain international recognition. Pakistan's Nobel laureate Malala Yousafzai has held the Taliban responsible for one of the world's worst humanitarian crises and called for the global boycott. European Union Special Envoy Gilles said that Taliban regime imposed on Afghanistan is the greatest and the most horrific criminal of the history of human rights. According to Hashtag, the Afghanistan Taliban are misleading the world and name of the return of migrants for find another pretext for further oppression. Pakistan and China have achieved a major milestone in capital market cooperation, further strengthening their economic partnership and financial ties. A partnership between Pakistan Services Group and China's Chaoyang Long March Tire Company has become the first Chinese invested company in Pakistan to enter the public market. The company raised $28 million through its initial public offering, making it the largest IPO in the Pakistan's private sector history. The landmark listing is expected to boost local tire manufacturing capacity, reduce dependence on the imports, and open new avenues for exports, strengthening Pakistan's industrial base. The development marks a new phase of collaboration between two countries in investment and industrial growth. Beyond the listing, Pakistan and China have agreed to deepen cooperation in market infrastructure, exchange trade funds, and new investment projects, including Islamic finance and the development of reflect the boundaries and broader vision of expanded investment, industrial growth, and financial integration between the two countries. Rescue operations are underway across Venezuela following the powerful earthquake that have killed at least 1,430 people, with hopes of finding survivors fading more than 3 days after disaster. The country was struck by magnitude 7.2 and 7.5 tremors, leaving collapsed buildings in multiple cities and widespread destruction amid an already severe economic and political crisis. Authorities say that tens of thousands of people remain missing, while emergency teams for Venezuela and abroad continue search and rescue operations in affected areas. An 11-year-old boy was rescued from rubble, offering a rare moment of hope. Officials have warned that a critical 72 hours window for finding survivors in the closing as efforts shift increasingly towards recovery operations. More than 2,700 rescue personnel and international aid teams have been deployed to assist in the response. Aid agencies caution that the death toll could rise further and assessment continue to affect areas improve. Venezuela's main international airport in Caracas has partially reopened, allowing cargo flights carrying humanitarian assistance and relief efforts intensify following the recent devastation. According to the officials, one runway at Simon Bolivar International Airport is now operational, enabling C-17 military transport aircraft and land essential supplies. Officials say that deliveries, including mobile hospitals, and started arriving, marking a significant step in restoring logistics and accelerating emergency response operation. The United Nations has warned that nearly 6.76 million people have been affected by twin earthquake that struck Venezuela on 24 June as the humanitarian crisis continued to worsen. The UN Migration Agency said that assessment based on population and damage data suggests that up to 2 million people in Caracas alone could be impacted by the disaster. It described the finding as highlighting the potentially vast humanitarian impact of the quakes. UN officials say that more than 50,000 people are still unaccounted for as rescue teams continue search operations amid debris and damaged infrastructure. The World Health Organization said that more than 1,300 excess deaths have been recorded across Europe since June 21st as a severe heat wave continued to affect large parts of the continent. WHO Director General Tedros Adhanom said that on X that approximately 150 million people are currently experiencing extreme and conditions with hundreds of fatalities reported. He added that schools have been closed and power grids are under strain due to increased demand. The heat wave has caused widespread disruption across Europe, highlighting growing concern about the health and infrastructure impact of extreme temperatures. Health officials continue to urge governments and citizens to take precautionary measures as high temperatures persist. Germany has recorded a new all-time temperature, a height of 41.7 degrees Celsius, as the intensive heat wave continues to grip large parts of Europe. The record-breaking temperature reflects the severity of ongoing early summer heat wave, which has pushed thermometers to unprecedented level across several European countries in recent days. Meteorological agencies have warned of the continued extreme heat conditions, with high temperatures expected to persist in part of the region before easing later in the week as cooler air moves in. France is recording a higher than normal number of deaths linked to the ongoing heat wave. Health Minister Rice said, warning that the full impact may still emerge in the coming days and weeks. She noted that extreme heat has delayed health effect, particularly on vulnerable people, with some patients acquiring hospital care days after exposures. Hospitals in around Paris are already under severe pressure, with emergency services reaching near saturations. The minister cautioned that the strain on healthcare facilities is likely to continue even after temperatures fall, as heat-related complications in chronic illness can persist for several weeks. She added that officially mortality figures will take time confirmed due to delays in death certificate reporting. Authorities have final verified statistics and be released once complete data is complete to ensure accuracy and transparency. A ballistic missile attack struck the Ukrainian capital Kyiv, with air defense system engaging incoming targets and residents urged to take shelter, and explosions had flashes. It lit the night sky. According to the Ukrainian military, and assault comes amid a renewed escalation in the war. The strikes follows the month of intensifying cross-border attacks. Russia has continued nearly daily missiles and drone strikes in the Ukraine since its full-scale invasion in February 2022. While Ukraine has increasingly carried out retaliatory strikes on Russian territory and occupied areas. The latest development highlights the continued escalation of the conflict, widely regarded as the deadliest in Europe since World War II. Qatar expressed grave concern over escalating attacks on civilian and vital facilities in Al Ubaid, Sudan, calling on all parties to de-escalate tensions, exercise restraint, and avoid further fighting to prevent catastrophic consequences for civilians. In a statement, Qatar's Ministry of Foreign Affairs stressed that the dialogue among all Sudanese parties is essential to end the conflict permanently, address the humanitarian crisis, and pave way for the comprehensive negotiations leading to sustainable peace. The ministry reaffirmed the Qatar's support for Sudan's unity, independence, sovereignty, and territorial integrity, while rejecting any external interference in the country's internal affairs. And now on to the world of sport, where Lionel Messi scored his sixth goal of the FIFA World Cup 2026 as Argentina beat Jordan 3-1 ahead of their World Cup knockout against Cape Verde. Messi tops the scoring charts in the North America as the tournament heads into the last 32. With qualification already in the bag, Messi started on the bench but came on after an hour in Texas' huge cheers to get his side's third with a free kick. Argentina finished emphatically top of the Group J with maximum points after also beating Algeria 3-0 and defeating Austria 2-0, all those goals coming from Messi. Meanwhile, Jude Bellingham and Harry Kane scored second-half goals and England got the job done against Panama at the World Cup on Saturday, a 2-0 victory at the MetLife Stadium, taking Thomas' team into the last 32 with Group L winners. Real Madrid star Bellingham got the end of the Bukayo Saka corner to break the deadlock just after the hour mark on the soggy day in New Jersey. It was largely uninspiring stuff to that point, but the opening goal had been coming at Bellingham, then the cross for Kane to head in the second midway through the second half. That was Kane's third goal of the tournament after he netted a brace in opening 4-2 win over Croatia, and England captain has now moved clearly off Gary Lineker as his country all-time leading World Cup scorer with 11. The knockout face-off is set to FIFA World Cup 2026. Mexico, Brazil and France punched their tickets with dominant displays. Africa, South Africa and Morocco punched through, while North America boasts Canada and USA making a statement. Europe's heavyweight Germany, Belgium and Spain secured their spot, eager to go for glory. The Netherlands and England showcased their pedigree, while Japan, Sweden and Norway fought for fiercely for qualification. South America's giants Argentina and Colombia advanced with a flair. African teams Senegal and Ghana kept their adrenaline high, and underdog Cape Verde and Paraguay pulled off stunning upsets. Meanwhile, Pakistan women secured a convincing 37-run victory over Netherlands in the 26th match of the ICC Women's T20 World Cup in Brussels. PTV Sports HD telecast the match live. Batting first after winning the toss, Pakistan posted 126 for 6 in 20 overs. Gulfiroza led the innings with an unbeaten 63 striking 9 hours, while Aisha Zafar contributed 32 runs to build the momentum. In reply, Netherlands struggled under pressure and were bowled out for 89 in 18 overs, while Heather Seghers added 24, but chase never gained stability. Pakistan bowlers dominated, with Fatma Sana and Aisha Zafar claiming 3 wickets each to seal a comprehensive victory. And viewers, with that, we come to the end of our news presentation. But for more news and updates, you can log on to our website, which is pakistantv.com. It's goodbye from Bardad Jahangir, Naila Shujan, and the entire news team of Pakistan TV.
I happen to be Shahzad Hassan Khan, and with me I'm really lucky I've been joined by my wonderful colleague who happens to be Miss Isha Rehan. There are a couple of stories that I brought, and then there are a couple of stories which Isha brought.
I was an entertainer. Pakistan obviously has showed me love with 2 million followers. I used to make funny skate. I still do. I'm a comedian as well. I've done music.
Building in also awareness about the environment, about what they can do at home to take care of the environment.
And they wanted something experimental, so she gave me the topic that climate change, how reproduction is affecting climate change.
So for me, it's like I believe I got really lucky. Okay, people think of me and they're like, oh, he's a foreigner, and then talking about the things that a middle class or a typical Pakistani.
I think this profession, the profession of arms, it's not a profession, to be very honest. It's a kind of a way of life.
You want me to tell, or do you want to?
No, you carry on.
What that means to me is that the Chinese are not interested in picking a fight with the United States. That's not going to solve their problems.
Not just because Pakistan took the initiative, but because no one else was taking the initiative, right? We've seen an absolute destruction of the international order.
In border villages in southern Lebanon, it has continued and continues to raise and bulldoze entire villages like Farkila, Ait al-Shahab, and over 61 villages.
All NATO allies would rally around an attacked member. And as soon as that belief starts to falter, it doesn't actually matter so much, I think.
In absolute terms, India has declined in freedom of the press, it has declined in religious freedom, it has declined in human rights.
Foundations of a separate Sikh homeland, Khalistan, that is where India is occupying Punjab right now.
Pakistan has categorically debunked India's baseless and misleading remarks regarding US President Donald Trump's recent comments on nuclear testing. Once again, New Delhi has twisted facts, attempting to link Trump's words to Pakistan's nuclear program, a desperate bid to malign Pakistan's impeccable record.
See, clandestine and illegal nuclear activities are in keeping with Pakistan's history that is centered around decades of smuggling, export control violations, secret partnerships, AQ Khan network, and further proliferation. India has always drawn the attention of the international community to these aspects of Pakistan's record. In this backdrop, we have taken note of President Trump's comment about Pakistan's nuclear testing.
But Pakistan's Foreign Office wasted no time in setting the record straight. It stated that US has already clarified its position, and there is no connection whatsoever to Pakistan's nuclear activities. Pakistan reaffirmed that its last and only nuclear tests were in May 1998, and its stance remains consistent, responsible, and transparent.
After having lost that war, India is definitely desperate to defame Pakistan as a state, and they don't leave any stone unturned to malign Pakistan.
Unlike India, which has abstained from key UN resolutions calling for a global ban on nuclear testing, exposing its ambiguous and dangerous intent.
In today's world, no nuclear testing can go hidden because of the very precise calculation of seismic activity.
Indeed, Pakistan's nuclear program operates under one of the most secure and credible command and control systems in the world, with comprehensive export controls and zero violations of international laws. Meanwhile, India's own history tells a darker story, from radioactive material thefts to illegal sale of californium linked to Bhabha Atomic Research Center. The message is clear. Pakistan's nuclear posture is responsible, transparent, and globally acknowledged, while India's disinformation campaign only exposes its insecurity and deceit. Pakistan stands firm on facts, not fabrication.
Speaks to the world.
Tonight we begin with developments that have implications for global energy markets, regional stability and international diplomacy.
If an agreement is reached that is acceptable to Iran and to the countries in the region, particularly countries in the Gulf, then there is a potential of having a more normal regional situation.
Special Envoy of the European Union, when it comes to the Special Envoy of the UK, they do acknowledge that Afghanistan is supporting terrorist organizations, which goes against the spirit of the Doha Agreement.
What is the most important change, what we expect to happen now is Pakistan-Iran connectivity and Pakistan's connectivity to Central Asia through...
It's going to be very difficult to reach an accord on all of the nuclear issues in 60 days.
Vice President J.D. Vance, and he had good comments to offer about Pakistan, that we love Pakistan, and he appreciated the role Pakistan played in the entire peace process.
Pakistan is definitely, now it's viewed in a very high esteem in the entire world.
President Trump, the primary focus is reopening the Strait of Hormuz so that gas prices come down, inflation rate starts to abate.
Hello and welcome to Experts Corner. This is Maheen Jaffrey.
If the military conflict will be erased from the negotiations table at the first stage, that will mean that there are opportunities to continue that.
Trump is racing against the time because of the two reasons I earlier mentioned. One is congressional approval, and the second is elections.
The policy of President Trump right now is to try to strangle the Iranian economy enough.
War is politics by other means, and politics is war by other means as well. So that means actually it's each side is trying to construct a narrative that we win the war.
From the Iranian point of view, they have no reason to trust the Americans, and from the American point of view, with the current government, it doesn't want to give any concessions.
The Iranians are pragmatic, but they're patient at the same time. And so strategic.
You're watching Pakistan TV. I am Avarda Adli Jahangir. Let's take a look to the top stories first. US President Donald Trump warns Iran that it will no longer exist if the United States is forced to resume military operations after ordering fresh airstrikes on Iranian missiles, drone and radar sites. Iran strike US military target in the Bahrain and Kuwait, warning for the firmer response to any further attacks or escalation by United States. Deputy Prime Minister and Foreign Minister Ishaq Dar holds a telephonic conversation with Saudi Foreign Minister Prince Faisal bin Farhan Al Saud, during which he conveys Pakistan's condolences over Saudi helicopter crash that killed 14 people. Pakistan is set to host international seminar on Indus Waters Treaty to draw out global attention to issue which can potentially trigger a wider conflict in South Asia. International guests start arriving in Islamabad to take part in the seminar. Deputy Prime Minister and Foreign Minister Ishaq Dar holds a telephonic conversation with European Union Chief Kaja Kallas to discuss the rapidly evolving situation in the Middle East, reaffirming the importance of diplomacy and adherence to the ceasefire agreement. Death toll for Venezuela's twin earthquake climbs to 1,430 with more than 50,000 people still missing as rescue teams race against time and international aid begins to arrive in disaster-hit country. WHO reports over 1,300 excess heat-related deaths in Europe as record-breaking heat wave disrupts infrastructure and public service across the continent since late June, while Germany records a new all-time temperature high of 41.7 degrees Celsius as an intense heat wave continues to grip large parts of Europe. Lionel Messi scored his sixth goal of the FIFA World Cup 2026 as Argentina beat Jordan 3-1 ahead of their World Cup knockout against tie against Cape Verde. We have just viewed the headlines. That's all for now. Stay tuned to Pakistan TV for more updates.
From the heart of South Asia to the crossroads of Central Asia, from the turbulent Middle East and North Africa to the power corridors of the West.
We value Pakistan as a great country. Allow me to mention one thing. People tend to forget that back in 1971, it was Pakistan which brought China and the United States together.
For the first time in history, does not have professional diplomats working on this problem. They have been sidelined, they've been retired, they've been pushed out of the State Department, encouraged to leave. So they're not at the White House, they're not in the State Department.
Lebanese, resistance movement, Hezbollah, has been launching a huge amount of drones. And again, Lebanon has a long history, South Lebanon actually has a long history of resisting occupation of Israel and other forces.
The United States and Israel in particular use Iran's nuclear program as an excuse to try to destroy Iran. The bottom line is we do not like the Islamic Republic of Iran.
The missile program of Iran is a genuine red line for them because Iran has no other deterrence asset at its disposal.
Arab leaders in the region need to take a position because displacement crises in this zone are not the type of crisis that remains inside Lebanon or remains within the time frame of the conflict.
China itself has actually been reducing its demand on global oil ever since the attack on Iran took place. And that has played a very positive role for global oil buyers.
Blows before the final bell, there is a conversation. It's a language understood by every stadium on every street corner. It's a moment your heart beats with million others. It's a roar of a crowd, the silence of anticipation. It's a triumphant cry of a champion. It's more than a game, it's a connection.
Pakistan TV speaks to the world.
Welcome to 2026, where a deal is signed one day and there is a violation on the other. That's exactly what has happened in the Middle East. The deal was signed, a peace deal between Lebanon and Israel, and there was a violation. There was drone strike from the Israeli strike on the Lebanese territory, and that has actually destroyed many of the heritage sites present in Israel. One of the ministers of Lebanon has said that on the media, that many of the very precious UNESCO heritage sites have been destroyed due to those particular strikes in Lebanon. Definitely this was a peace deal. This was supposed to curb the influence of Hezbollah in Lebanon. This was supposed to disarm the non-state armed groups in Lebanon, and this was supposed to begin a phased Israeli withdrawal in Lebanon. But we didn't get to see any of that happen, because right next day we got to see a strike from the Israeli strike side. What are the reasons for Israel doing this? Why is Israel being the regional bully in the Middle East? Why is Israel acting the way it does, and why does it have to violate each and every agreement? Because we have been seeing such Israeli behavior when the deal was being signed between the US and Iran as well. We got to see that, and definitely many of the debates were being held about that as well. The regional spoiler, that is what Israel is being called as. Now, to talk about that, we have some very important guests with us today. We have Mr. Yasir Habib Khan in the CEO. Yasir Habib Khan Saab is President, International Relations and Media Research, and he is a geopolitical analyst. Yasir Habib Khan Saab, Assalamu alaikum, and welcome to Pakistan TV and our program.
Thank you very much for having me in this show.
Wonderful having you, sir. Also on Zoom, we have Ms. Yelena Novakov. She's a journalist and geopolitical analyst. Ms. Yelena, welcome to our program and Pakistan TV.
Thank you for having me on.
Wonderful having you too. Now, sir, Yasir, my first question to you, sir. Israel, does that actually fall in the category of being a spoiler? Because we have been seeing that sort of a behavior from the Israeli side. We've seen that in Gaza, we've seen that the Iranian peace deal, and now we are watching that in Lebanon as well. How do you sort of explain the behavior of Israel and whatever we have been witnessing from the Israeli side?
Yes, as far as your point is concerned, that how the Israel image as a spoiler is being witnessed by the entire world, I think so. It's naturally it is embedded into the nature of Israel to exploit the different countries on different reasons. So Israel's face as a monstrous spoiler is basically has many shades and many dynamics. So its tentacle is not only limited in one area; it has been spreading out even in Middle East, then even in Africa, in South Asia. So that's why we will have to see the Israel the face as a spoiler can be judged in a one way, that if you look at the US-Iran war, so when the entire world was making diplomatic efforts for the de-escalation and trying their level best for establishing the peace in the region, so only country that had been standing up against all this peace was Israel. So that is the nature of Israel. So the second thing is how the Israel is raining down the bombing on Lebanon. It also shows or manifests it's kind of another destroyer, a peace destroyer. And the third one is a Gaza genocide. So even the UN and some international players were trying to bring peace in this Gaza area, but Israel didn't hesitate for the massacre in Gaza.
So also Israel has occupied what it calls the buffer zone. Now, according to the definition of international law, as far as invasion is concerned, as far as taking over is concerned, doesn't that go against it?
Again, I will try to encapsulate my point of view with this sense of the things that first point is as you are talking about the illegal occupation in one portion of Lebanon.
Yes.
So this is a point of conflict, and in the 14-point peace deal between US and Iran that has been brokered by Pakistan and some other international players. So Israel is not giving any heed to or any attention to this kind of thing, that it will withdraw from this portion of the Lebanon, and it keep insisting to even extending its tentacle. Reason is that it has expansionist objectives. So these expansionist objectives is basically, and its nefarious military designs. So these are the basic points that due to which Israel is not going to change its mind and change its style.
Ms. Yelena, there has been a lot of talk about Lebanon's sovereignty, and in this deal as well, it was being talked about. It was being said that this is the first step towards Lebanon's sovereignty. How realistic is this sovereignty with the Israeli forces still present in southern Lebanon?
I mean, it isn't. No country can claim that it has full sovereignty and full respect of its territorial integrity from other actors, while a part of its territory is being occupied by foreign armies, right? I mean, this deal certainly comes at an opportune time, and it fully benefits Israel because it counts on the weakness of the official Lebanese forces, right? We don't know how long it would take the Lebanese forces to disarm Hezbollah, if that happens at all. And it would create this moment where Lebanese forces are going against Hezbollah, and it has a potential to create an internal conflict within Lebanon. Then when that is over, Israel can just come in and occupy the rest of the territory it is interested in. So this deal certainly only benefits Israel, and it has no regard for Lebanese security or Lebanese sovereignty if it is creating this potential of an internal conflict within Lebanon.
Also, there has been a talk about the withdrawal of Israeli troops from the Lebanese territory, but no actual timeline has been given. How meaningful is this deal without any particular timeline?
I mean, it isn't. I suspect this deal was, as I mentioned, it was signed at a very opportune time, and it is, I suspect, done to appease the United States and kind of give it a chance to smooth over these tensions with Iran and kind of to get back to the negotiating table, while Israel is continuing to attack Lebanon with all impunity, as it had done before this agreement, right? And so this is purely, I think, symbolic. This is just a piece of paper, and it would not change anything in Lebanon for the good, right? Or for the better. It can only change it for the worse. And I suspect, unfortunately, that we will see that kind of development happen if the Lebanese army actually tries to go in and fight Hezbollah.
Now, Yasir Habib Khan Saab, we know this is the 5th round of negotiations which has taken place while the US was brokering it. How different is this time, and what were the reasons of the failures of the last 4 times?
In fact, this is not a usual deal. Mm-hmm. It has many deep dynamics, and that's why we are observing the phases.
All right.
So in a first phase, we saw that on 8 April, when a peace deal transpired, and then we looked at in this peace deal, even there was some mistrust, and but because the international community and globally there was pressure, so US had to agree on these peace points. But the point is, again, it is a kind of a trust building barriers. It takes time. So that's why we see that gradually in a first peace deal, then we see gradually the second one, then the third one, and the last one, which we have observed now, the 14-point peace deal and memorandum of understanding. So still there are many issues of mistrust among the US and Iran, but the international community is highly engaged with all these sides, trying to de-escalate and trying to remove the issues of mistrust. So my point of view is that unless these confidence building measures will take a shape of a mature shape, so these steps we'll see that finally will ended up in a better sustainable peace deal.
And how do you see the role of US because the US has brokered this deal, considering the fact that Hezbollah was founded due to the fact that Israel had taken over Lebanon in 1982?
Yes, because if you look at this geostrategic situation in which they are because that time we are observing it's a kind of a unipolar world. Now that has changed into multi-power world. So due to this reason, whatever is happening, it is taking in a transition phase. So that's why the deal which was brokered earlier and finally in this Lebanon shape we are observing, it will again, I will say that I will try to articulate my point that it takes time. It will not happen as usually we see that the deal may take place in different areas.
Right, now coming to you, Ms. Yelena, we do see the deal getting signed one day and we see the drone strikes the next day. What signals, what messages are being sent from the Israeli side to, say, Beirut, to Washington, to the rest of the Arab world?
Right, well, now that is shocking, right? We've seen Israel do that countless times and go unpunished and go unchecked. And I think the message that Tel Aviv is sending to Beirut in particular, but also to the US and to Tehran, is that, as I mentioned before, this deal with Lebanon fully benefits them, and they will continue to exercise that control they have in southern Lebanon even more now with this deal. So I have to disagree with the other guest that I don't think that any amount of time will be enough to for this deal to take place and bring peace to the Levant. As long as Israel has its agenda of creating a greater Israel, southern Lebanon and other parts of the Levant and the Middle East are also within that frame of greater Israel, there will be no peace, right? Especially if Israel is allowed to continue to occupy certain parts of southern Lebanon indefinitely, and the other pilot zones also probably indefinitely, because I mentioned before, the Lebanese army does not have the capacity to fight on Hezbollah and defeat them quickly and disarm them, right? Because if that was the possibility, that would have already been done. Lebanon has a highly unstable government. It has had an unstable government for a while now. And Israel has been in southern Lebanon for over a year now after they were supposed to withdraw. So they're going to stay that indefinitely, and then in the right amount of time, they will start fully occupying it as they are occupying the West Bank in the same fashion. So I don't think this is going to create stability at all. I think we're going to see more upheaval in that region.
Ms. Yelena, you very rightly pointed out the point towards the Greater Israel Project. Now, Israel has boasted that it did kill about 7 Hezbollah members. So, till the time there is Hezbollah activity inside the territory of Lebanon, does that give Israel the permit or the license to continue killing, to continue invading, despite a peace deal?
Absolutely not. As you pointed out, Hezbollah was created after Israel attacked southern Lebanon, right? So there was some sort of motivation for Israel to attack Lebanon even before Hezbollah. So Hezbollah is just a pretext. Also, their behavior in southern Lebanon is really reflective of their other military operations, with complete disregard for human life, with complete disregard for historical sites. Again, this is not surprising. The presence of Hezbollah certainly doesn't justify killing of civilians, just as the presence of Hamas in Gaza did not legitimize killing of Gazan civilians.
Now, Yasser Habib Khan Saab, we know for a fact that UAE President Sheikh Mohammed bin Zayed has expressed his readiness to support Israel economically and also socially. That happened at a phone call. Also, the Italian Foreign Minister Tajani also expressed Italy's support. Now, are we moving towards a renewed Gulf Arab engagement, and also are we moving towards the replacement of UNIFIL in Lebanon? What are we moving ahead? What are you foreseeing in the territory of Lebanon?
In fact, if you look into this situation and try to dive into this entire affair, you will see that Israel is trying to influence all these Middle East areas, especially the UAE, and we see that these relations are not only will be limited on this area, it is going to expand in different other areas, like we see the Somaliland. So in Somaliland, Israel and UAE again teamed up to recognize Somaliland. So this dynamics is also very evident to know that the nexus of Israel and UAE, if it will be given a more authority, so then we'll see that the Lebanon issue is going to be more complex. And here I believe that China as another international player must come forward and try to broker a deal between Lebanon and Israel, as it has done 2023 in between Iran and Saudi Arabia. So, and also it played a role for a kind of creating a good friendliness among the Palestine groups. So I believe that China has more authority, more power, more influence in terms of, because China has
on the Arab world, you mean?
In Arab world, yes.
Right,
yes.
right.
Yeah.
So China, you say, should be
more
overpowering as compared to the U.S. in that particular region of the world. Also, sir, Israel's ambassador, quite boastfully, when the deal was signed, she mentioned Hezbollah is out, Iran is out. While there was so much talk of Lebanon's sovereignty being talked about, there was no statement, there was no basically pointing out at Lebanon that Lebanon too is a stakeholder and Lebanon is in. What do you say about those sorts of statements coming from Israeli ambassador, where the Lebanese ambassador was also present? Did that not undermine the sovereignty of Lebanon?
Yes, it definitely it has inflicted a blow to the sovereignty of Lebanon, because Lebanon is a sovereign country.
Of course.
So that's why, that's the reason that in this situation Iran is trying to put more influence, and in this peace deal between US and Iran, the Lebanon issue has not been given a lighter on a lighter way. So Lebanon issue was given a full weightage to be understood by the world that Lebanon is, Iran is supporting and backing the Lebanon, and Lebanon is not alone and not isolated. So that's why I think in this peace deal, when the different technical points were being inked, so this point was not missed, and on this point was also agreed by the other countries like Pakistan and Qatar and the other countries.
Now, Ms. Yelena, coming to you now, there is a lot of mistrust if we talk about the people of Lebanon, because a lot of protests were held when it was announced that a deal with Israel has been signed, because obviously we have seen that Lebanon has been under siege ever since 1982, when Israel started invading Lebanon. There has been a lot of major issues in Lebanon off and on as far as Israel is concerned. People are not happy. Why is there a gap between what the people think and what the leadership of Lebanon thinks? What was the leadership of Lebanon thinking before signing this deal with Israel? Because, of course, it's widely known that there is a mistrust as far as Israel is concerned. Israel is the regional bully. Israel in the past has given very provocative statements. So what is your opinion on this?
I think we are witnessing effectively sort of a balkanization of Lebanon, right? Where you have different factions, some that aren't part of the government, and then there's the official government that is extremely weak, that doesn't have that many international friends, at least not to the level that, for example, Israel does, right? It doesn't have those sort of partnerships. So what I suspect that they are doing, they are simply gasping at straws and taking anything they can to still remain a legitimate government, but try and protect the Lebanese people any way they can. Though, as I said before, I don't expect this to be effective. Now, of course, the people are not going to trust that, because every previous time we've had this situation, people were waking up to bombs falling on their heads, right? So when you've experienced that 10 times before, you're not going to trust it the 11th time that it won't happen. And this incredibly weak peace deal that has no time frame, it doesn't offer any guarantees to civilians, and it fully benefits Israel. Of course, there is going to be mistrust in that, and of course, then we're going to see the people of Lebanon turn to different sides in asking for protection, right? So this is not surprising, and as I mentioned before, this division in Lebanon and this kind of cognitive dissonance on the part of the government is very noticeable, and I think the people of Lebanon notice it too, especially while being at risk even after this deal is signed, as we have.
Our panelist here, Yasser Saab, he was mentioning earlier that China has more influence in the Middle Eastern region. This is quite an interesting point, and I'd love to have your comment on this, because obviously till now we have seen in the negotiations between Lebanon and Israel, the US has brokered those peace agreements. Yasser Saab thinks that China should step in due to its influence in this region. What do you think?
I think that we are definitely going to see UN petrol gain momentum, but China isn't necessarily known to step up in such covert ways, right? China relies on soft power quite a bit, and it's been working out in Beijing's interest very well. So I don't necessarily think that we will see China trying to take over. We might see certain offers and suggestions coming from China, but I don't think they will come and assert their dominance in the Middle East now. It's simply not something that we've seen Beijing kind of aggressively pushing towards, not just in the Middle East, but anywhere else in the world. They do, as I mentioned, tend to rely on soft diplomacy, and if we see any kind of suggestion, it will be on that note as well, instead of saying, hey, we have to do this or we have to do this. I don't think that is going to be Beijing's approach, but some suggestions we are probably going to hear, like they have had many suggestions for Ukraine. None of that has come to light, and they haven't pushed. So I don't expect them to push a lot here, although they have an economic interest they don't have in Ukraine.
Right, Ms. Yelena Novakov, thank you very much for joining in and for giving us your time and speaking on this very important matter. Novakov, a journalist and geopolitical analyst, was talking to us. Now, Yasser Habib Khan, just one last question before we wind up the segment. Has Israel's actions, has this weakened or strengthened the overall narrative of Hezbollah?
In fact, Hezbollah is a reality. We cannot say that reality should be brushed under the carpet.
Of
the
course.
reality is it does exist. So Israel will have to understand, will have to figure out exactly that there is no way other to deal with the Lebanon or Hezbollah basically, because Hezbollah is it's something that is very understood in the Lebanon. And Hezbollah is also...
Because Hezbollah says that armed resistance is the only language that Israel understands. Do you think they're correct? Do you think that this stance has weakened or strengthened by the action of Israel?
Basically, when, Hezbollah is being pressed from all sides.
Exactly, yeah.
So when anybody is being suppressed, so what a person can do? It is only something that the arm is the only language to deal with the such a kind of a very imperialist situation. So that's why I believe that Hezbollah has from other supporters from the international community, if these international community may give a more power, more support, more backing to Hezbollah. So then Hezbollah will muster some courage and confidence that Hezbollah is not alone and cannot be eliminated by Israel. So this is my point of view. One thing I want to add here, because we are talking about here the Israel as a spoiler.
Yes.
So far we have talked about only the Middle East. And yes, focus is the Middle East. One thing is point which is being missed here, that Israel also is trying to create a lot of insidersness in Pakistan also. If you look at some information, you will see that the BLA is being supported by some Israeli and Mossad, and because Israel has also has teamed up with India. So with India and Israel is giving many support to the BLA, which is a terrorist organization. And recently, Times of Israel criticized the sentence of Mahrukh Baloch.
Yes, that's definitely correct. And sir, this is a very interesting point that you've raised, but we are, due to the dearth of time, we are not going to be able to talk about in detail and depth about all that. But sir, thank you very much for joining in, and thank you very much for giving us your time. Mr. Yasir Habib Khan was joining in. He is President, International Relations and Media Research and a geopolitical analyst. Yasir Saab, thank you very much for coming all the way and joining our program Unfold. Now, of course, this was a very important discussion that we were holding as far as Israel being a spoiler is concerned. And Yasir Saab gave us good pointers towards the end. And yes, definitely we can talk about them in the future as well. But now what we're going to talk about in our program, that's also something quite interesting, because that's something directly relevant to our country. We are going to talk about the Gwadar port and the overall economy of Pakistan. We know ever since the deal was signed, the ceasefire was signed between Iran and the US, a green signal was given so that more and more trade can be done with Iran. It has been de-sanctioned, the environment is more open now, Pakistan has more options now. So definitely, this is a good environment for Pakistan's economy to thrive in. And will Pakistan take this opportunity to take Pakistan to new heights? Because obviously there have been a lot of figures and statistics have been given that by 2037, Pakistan is going to be perhaps a $1 trillion rupee industry. And perhaps another report suggests that Pakistan is going to be one of the countries who are doing economically really, really good. We're going to talk all about that. We're going to go in depth and detail about this issue. And for that, we have been joined by two guests. We have been joined by Dr. Waqar Ahmed, who is an economist, and we have been joined by Dr. Salman Shah, the former finance minister. Assalamu alaikum to both of you, and thank you for joining us in our program.
Walaikum assalam. Thank you.
Now, Dr. Waqar Ahmed, my first question to you, sir. The Strait of Hormuz, that has highlighted that the marine lanes are also vulnerable? Because previously, before the war, it was considered that they're quite safe, nothing is supposed to happen over there. Now, does this make the overland corridors, especially the ones in Pakistan, does this give a new opportunity to Pakistan? Does it make Pakistan more economically attractive, or make it strategically more essential in the entire region? What's your opinion on that?
Thank you very much. Absolutely. I think I couldn't agree more with your question. So certainly the recurrent disruptions that the international seas are currently witnessing, I think a natural outcome has been that countries around Pakistan have been looking towards safer land routes. This includes countries not only on both the Central Asian side, but also economies such as China, who are already heavily invested in Pakistan. They see both the Western as well as the Eastern corridors in Pakistan with renewed interest, I must say. We've also seen that countries such as Tajikistan, Kyrgyz Republic, Uzbekistan, they have shown interest in sourcing their food supplies via transit routes, accessing both Karachi as well as the Gwadar port.
Now, Dr. Salman Shah, coming to you now. Sir, we always talk about in our news items, in our programs, we speak about regional connectivity. When it comes to a common man, when it comes to the ordinary Pakistani citizen, what does regional connectivity mean?
Well, I think regional connectivity has many aspects to it. As a regional corridor, of course, Pakistan, if Pakistan is the main connector between, let's say, the Arabian Sea and Central Asia and Central and Western China, Pakistan will be collecting a lot of toll fees. Along with that, if we create a good, conducive environment for investment, the whole corridors can be attracting in everything which the world needs. So in a way, if we monetize this connectivity, we'll get a huge development benefit, provided we can get everything in order. Secondly, I think Iran is a very big economy in a way, because it is an oil and gas rich country and 90 million people. They have huge amounts of requirements for different products, including their reconstruction, which is going to happen. And also they need to work with us in terms of their food supplies, in terms of other goods and services. So I think that Gwadar, as you were talking earlier, has a natural hinterland which goes all the way to Eurasia, which is Western China, even Soviet Union, the Russian Federation, Central Asia, Afghanistan, Iran. So I think if we look at, you mentioned 2037, I think the economy would at least be it should be at least $1 trillion economy. And then that needs lots and lots of investment. So our investment climate has to be super good. Our legal systems, our rule of law, our arbitration systems, the trust in the bureaucracy and in property rights, and all the things which are important for having a good investment climate, which also includes no terrorism, no extremism, no terrorist groups roaming all over the country. So I think we have a job on hand, and it's a very good opportunity which we should not miss. This is an opportunity of a lifetime, and the Pakistani state and the Pakistani people, the Pakistani diaspora, the Pakistani youth
all of us have to work towards this to make us a regional linchpin, and that requires a lot of work. So I hope that we are able to do this work, and we need to have people-to-people contact with the regional countries in Iran, Saudi Arabia, Gulf countries, in terms of policy and in terms of what will lead us to a common security amongst the entire region, and also almost like a common market for trade, transport, tourism, connectivity of all kinds. And
you very rightly mentioned, you very rightly mentioned one point, that Pakistan is at the crossroads of South Asia, Central Asia, Western China. I mean, Pakistan has huge potential. The geography is perfect, but and now Pakistan also has the political will. Do you think, how long do you think it's going to take Pakistan to actually reach that sort of economic figure which you were just mentioning, the $1 trillion economy? Because obviously, if everything goes right, hypothetically speaking, obviously it's a projection of a perfect projection, but realistically speaking, what do you think, being a former finance minister, knowing Pakistan and knowing the challenges that Pakistan has?
Well, I think the biggest asset Pakistan has right now is its demographics. It has a youth bulge, and at the tip of the youth bulge, we have people who are very good in artificial intelligence, IT, and that sector, the whole sector is dominated by very young people. Then we also see a lot of internal migration happening from the rural areas to the urban areas, and this is mostly youth migrating from the agriculture sector into the urban economy. And the youth is, I think, going to drive this change. You mentioned the political will. The political will be determined by the youth, and they are the people who will benefit from regional connectivity. They are the people who will benefit from good governance, and they are the people who will benefit for Pakistan becoming a hub for connectivity and investment. So I think that the pressure is on, and our governments have to adjust to it, and we have to make sure that we work on this on a very fast pace. So I don't agree with you when you say that it will take too long, or I think it should not take too long. But on the other hand, we have to be prepared for it and work towards it. And we have to work diligently towards it, like one nation, one objective. And the objective is to be the premier connectivity hub and an investment hub in this region, and make the entire region very prosperous.
Beautifully said, sir. Now, Dr. Waqar Ahmed, moving to you now. The government has put in a lot of effort as far as the Gwadar port is concerned. In Gwadar, an airport has been made, a free zone has been made. But what more needs to be done? As an economist, I want your personal opinion, and a very good one at that. Because obviously we have what can be done to make it more attractive as compared to the rest of the ports? For example, say the Chabahar port, which is already present. Why should the investors be coming to Pakistan? What more should we be doing to make it more attractive for the investors?
Yes, so I think the narrative around Gwadar must now shift from a future potential to current operational realities. I think the comparison with Chabahar, given that Iran could remain volatile in the short to medium term, this comparison, I think, is no more being discussed. What is being discussed is that only in the month of April, Gwadar port was able to process 11,000 containers in a single month, which of course is a port record, at least for this port. And to put that in macroeconomic perspective, this single month volume completely surpassed the roughly almost 8,000 containers the port had handled during the entire 12 months of 2025. So I think what has happened in the region has given Gwadar port really that edge which Pakistan required. And this surge really proves that physical capacity of Gwadar can serve the region. But as you rightly said, and I think Dr. Salman Shah was also pointing out this very important point, that we must recognize that this volume that Gwadar is now presenting is largely driven by external disruptions in the Strait of Hormuz in this case, rather than any structural domestic trade growth, which Pakistan would like to see. And I think the issue at hand now is to lock in this momentum through deliberate long-term regulatory policies, conducive regulatory policies, rather than relying on temporary regional crises. And I think in that respect, the homework has to be done at two levels. One, of course, is the federal level, where the federal government's primary task should be to lower the transaction costs that currently penalize Pakistani trade and logistics sector. Those costs need to be lowered. And of course, the opening up of land route transit corridor with Iran should certainly bring in more economies of scale to this port as well. Second, I think while of course work needs to be done on customs side, at the level of Ministry of Commerce as well, we need to be working more with the 5 Central Asian republics who want to utilize Gwadar port for sourcing their food and other supplies as well. At a provincial level, again, there is some homework which is required. So as you would know, that a logistics sector contributes significantly to the provincial GDP in Balochistan. And it's the government of Balochistan which now has the executive responsibility to reverse some of the logistics gaps that may exist, which prevent linking, for example, Gwadar port to the essential cold storage facilities, or even the storage facilities in both oil and gas sectors. So these are the gaps that need to be immediately addressed.
Dr. Waqar, we also know that the first cargo shipment has been dispatched to Uzbekistan via the Iranian route. Obviously, the green signal has been given by the US. Now, I want you to, according to your expertise, I want you to tell me how important is this for Pakistan and how durable is this considering the whole geopolitical scenario and, of course, for the economy of the country?
So I think this is of a significant importance, given that Pakistan has had to, of course, show that it can operationalize what we call the TIR transit arrangement. This is an international transit arrangement. And if you want to provide transit facility to the world, which is multimodal, that is that you can provide transit via sea and land and rail, then of course you need to display and exhibit that yes, your systems are configured with the TIR convention. So Pakistan has done this in the case of Uzbekistan, and a couple of years back we also did this in the case of Turkmenistan. So while of course the proof is there, but I think, as Dr. Salman Shah had also pointed out, that now to regularize this and really to scale up this traffic, there are other arrangements, probably other than the economics of transit, that need to be put in place. And paramount in this is ensuring the security of transit, which of course our authorities will need to demonstrate in the coming future.
Now, moving to you, Dr. Salman Shah, when it comes to Pakistan and Iran, the currency happens to be a problem. It is quite problematic. So when we talk about trade with Iran, what financial instruments or what sort of mechanisms can be made and how can the trade be made possible in a sanctioned environment? How can that be made more and more easy, because considering obviously the geopolitical scenarios there?
I think with the lifting of some of these sanctions, trade between Iran and Pakistan can be regularized. It won't be primarily in dollar terms, but maybe we can have some local currency arrangements. Plus, we can trade in yuan, because both China and both Iran and Pakistan trade with China, and we are able to even access the Chinese bond market in Pakistan. So I think there will have to be lots of alternate arrangements other than operating through the American-backed dollar system. Secondly, I think on the connectivity part, there are 2 or 3 different routes which are very important for Pakistan. One is the route through Iran to Turkey and onwards to Europe. The other is the route from Pakistan to Iran and on to Azerbaijan and Russia. So that is the second. But the most important route is the CPEC routes, which we go all the way from Gwadar and Karachi to China. And from China, you can go to all of the Central Asian states and Uzbekistan. So, for example, if a train from China can reach Tehran through Uzbekistan, first it has to go through Kazakhstan, then into Uzbekistan, then Turkmenistan, and then into Iran. It probably takes 15 days. If we had the same kind of infrastructure in Pakistan, we could probably do the same journey in about 3 days' time. So I think Pakistan's geography has a lot of potential in terms of playing connectivity and becoming a hub. And that is, for that, we have to have strategic planning, and we better do it quickly. I hope we have already done it, but if we have not done it, we need to do that strategic planning and implement it on a fast track basis, because these opportunities are not available all the time, and this is the right time. And if we are not able to do this, then there will be alternate mechanisms and we'll be left behind. So I think we cannot waste any time, and we must put in the task forces together who work on these issues. And we need to consult all the countries in the region, and we have to have meetings with them. I think we have the ECO framework, which has developed a lot of these things, and we can make it more effective and start to implement this. So we have to have a West Asia policy and a West Asia, Central Asia policy, which has to be backed by good strategic plans and implementation plans, because we'll need a lot of financing to do all of this. And for that, the financing plan has to be there.
Well, we do hope for the best. Thank you very much for joining in, Dr. Waqar Ahmed. Thank you very much, Dr. Salman Shah. Thank you very much for joining in and giving your viewpoint regarding the economy and the opportunities which Pakistan has been given now. Dr. Waqar Ahmed was an economist, and Dr. Salman Shah, former finance minister, had joined us in our program Unfold. Well, they say geography alone never built a port, an opportunity alone never built an economy. Right now, Pakistan is both, and we are hoping for the best as far as Pakistan is concerned. We are hoping that the US-Iran deal would hold. We are hoping that Pakistan would use this opportunity and use all the routes that it can to move to Central Asia and beyond, and we hope for the best. Stay tuned to Pakistan TV. Take care.
Tonight we begin with developments that have implications for global energy markets, regional stability and international diplomacy.
If an agreement is reached that is acceptable to Iran and to the countries in the region, particularly countries in the Gulf, then there is a potential of having a more normal regional situation.
Special envoy of the European Union, when it comes to the special envoy of the UK, they do acknowledge that Afghanistan is supporting terrorist organizations, which goes against the spirit of the Doha Agreement.
What is the most important change, what we expect to happen now is Pakistan-Iran connectivity and Pakistan's connectivity to Central Asia through...
It's going to be very difficult to reach an accord on all of the nuclear issues in 60 days.
Vice President J.D. Vance, and he had good comments to offer about Pakistan, that we love Pakistan, and he appreciated the role Pakistan played in the entire peace process.
Pakistan is definitely, now it's viewed in a very high esteem in the entire world.
President Trump, the primary focus is reopening the Strait of Hormuz so that gas prices come down, inflation rate starts to abate.
What that means to me is that the Chinese are not interested in picking a fight with the United States. That's not going to solve their problems.
Not just because Pakistan took the initiative, but because no one else was taking the initiative, right? We've seen an absolute destruction of the international order.
In border villages in southern Lebanon, it has continued and continues to raise and bulldoze entire villages like Farkila, Ait al-Shahab, and over 61 villages.
All NATO allies would rally around an attacked member. And as soon as that belief starts to falter, it doesn't actually matter so much, I think.
In absolute terms, India has declined in freedom of the press, it has declined in religious freedom, it has declined in human rights.
Foundations of a separate Sikh homeland, Khalistan, that is where India is occupying Punjab right now.
Warm welcome to Pakistan TV. I'm Fiza Sajava with the top stories of this hour. Let's begin with the headlines. US President Donald Trump warns that Iran, it will no longer exist if the United States is forced to resume military operations after ordering fresh airstrikes on